Welcome to the Two Dudes Talk Music YouTube channel. I am the Reverend Raff.
We did it. We made it.
Because when a band's name starts being everywhere, it can be very easy to go like, okay, like.
Just because I know what it's like to feel left out and to feel like people are weird or mean to you, and so I never want to be that person, and I want.
This here is my good friend Kyle, aka the BeerBuddy.
Big opportunity. You guys must be stoked you're on the first day too, because you can just sort of shoot. Yeah, you can just relax.
Brian was sitting down with his longtime friend and his former bandmate Meegs from Cold Chamber, and they were having coffee, and Brian was.
When those questions go, those hearty chuckles.
You know what that laughter says to me is like, people y'all don't even know what's coming. People just are gonna be minds are gonna be blown by that.
No, it will be a fucking banger.
What's happening, everybody? I am the Reverend Raff, joined once again by my good friend Kyle, aka the BeerBuddy.
What's going on, everybody?
Hit him with the blue steel. Hit him with the blue steel. And we are the Two Dudes Who Talk Music. Welcome to another big podcast episode. Before we dive into anything though, any of the major stuff though, just a reminder, we drop 6 videos every single week on YouTube. We have reactions, we have interviews, podcast episodes, as well as our extra little stuff on the weekends. 6 videos every week. So if you have a good time with us, it's really, really appreciated if you could consider hitting that subscribe button. Actually just last week, if you haven't checked it out, just last week, we extra dropped 7 videos because we managed to sneak a little cheeky interview with Bionic Jive in there.
How cool was that?
Oh my God.
Dudes.
Do yourself a favor. If you haven't watched that one yet, go and watch it because their perspective on stuff is amazing. It's
great conversation.
2 rappers that kind of got involved with a rock band and did like back in the nu metal era and kind of started doing that sort of stuff. They talk
for
about
a very interesting reason too.
Yeah. They talk about how they came together. They talk about their first ever mosh pit, which I think was a Pantera pit, and they went in there and like got crazy with that. Their philosophies on music and the history of like rock as developing from black music and stuff like that.
African American.
It's all like. It's great conversation. Please, you do yourself a favor when you go and check it out if you can. Of course, as you've seen lately, we've got the new little logo that's appeared in recent weeks. That is the Hot and Heavy show.
Big love to Hot and Heavy.
Big love to Hot and Heavy show. It's a community radio based heavy metal show, 4 hours every Monday night. Runs 6 p.m. till 10 p.m. Monday nights. Great Lakes FM, or Great Lakes 101.5 FM, I think it was, unless I'm mistaken. Also live streams out on TikTok and Instagram. So you can tune in wherever you want to get it. If you're not in that local Central Coast region sort of thing, Central Coast, New South Wales region, but if you're not in that area and you want to get it, TikTok or Instagram is going to be your best bet. So when we had Hayes from Hot and Heavy Show, the founder, we had her on last week. Plenty of good stuff to chat about there. Big plans for the future of that as well. Just excited to be working with them and sort of putting our heads together and joining forces on all sorts of cool stuff about music and all those things. And if you are in the Southeast Queensland region, coming up next month, it's pretty quick. Is Nowherefest. That is taking place on the 14th of June at Amore Events in West End, Brisbane. We got going to be Botulism coming over from Germany. They got Dark Law, Bonkoff, Anton Amasia, Oceans and Omens, T-Rex Autopsy, Plague Dweller, and that's just a little bit of the lineup. It's a huge lineup, huge with a capital Y, and it is just stacked. So the tickets are incredibly cheap for what's on offer. Go.
How much are they?
And, look, I don't know. I think the early bird tickets were like $30.
Are you kidding?
The early bird ones were $30. I think they might be sold out now, but let me check what they are at the moment.
Because I paid more for that at a Sydney show.
The tickets are. Come on. Okay, so $40.
That's fantastic.
$40 for an all-day lineup that is absolutely stacked. Tons of incredible bands. And I'm going to be there covering the event and also having a little cheeky drink, little cheeky celebration because that's only a couple of days before my birthday. So come along. I will probably, hopefully, if they arrive in time, be rocking my fresh threads, my new Two Dudes Talk Music t-shirt.
Ooh.
If they've arrived in time. I know one batch has shipped. There's another small batch on the way with some special ones. We will see. We will have to see. But Yeah, that's all the stuff we're covering there. We've got all of that
Yeah.
coming up. We're going to be trying to interview some of the bands over the next few weeks as well. So that's going to be lots of fun. Just get along to it, man. We'll have a link in the thing for tickets to Nowherefest. If you're in Southeast Queensland region, it's well worth attending. There's going to be so many incredible bands playing. Well worth your time. But look, mate, with that out of the way, but before we get to our actual guest today, how have you been?
Good, man. Just, just
looking
doing
well.
my thing and live. Oh, dude, I'm feeling good. The surgery's gone so well. Physio's going well. I'm starting to feel like back to my normal functional self. So I'm happy at the moment. How are you going? How's the wrist feeling after the little...
Look, it's doing okay. It's still a bit tender, but after I'm at the point now where after 2 straight weeks of wearing like a wrist brace and keeping everything like locked in place, it's getting quite sore just from not doing anything. You know what I mean? Like
it's doing that backwards thing.
So I'm trying to compensate for wearing the wrist brace and all of that. So it's I'm at the point though where I can have it off for a lot of the time. Like it's fine. I got most of my motion back in it, so it's okay. I just got to be a bit careful with certain things. So it's coming along nicely though.
Good. Old people problems.
That's it. I mean,
it's us all over, bro.
This is there. I got the grey coming. I'm hitting that point, man. I'm hitting that point. Yeah, still in our 30s for now.
Yeah,
still in our 30s for now. But yeah, it's the body's starting to get there.
It is. Well, it's not 30 when you've been in mosh pit since you were like 16. That's the problem.
True. That's true.
You've been in the washing machine since you were 16 years old.
The way some of us have treated our bodies, we've probably got the bodies of like 50-year-olds at this point. So
but that's okay. YOLO.
YOLO, exactly. But yeah, other than that, man, I don't know if I mentioned this last week that I went to see the Thunderbolts.
No.
The new Marvel movie. Went to see Thunderbolts. It was pretty good.
How was it?
Really good. Really good.
Okay.
It had a nice phase 1 vibe about it. Some of those
like the
phase
revamp.
1,
It's like we're starting at a new point here, aren't we?
Sort of. I mean, not
Thunderbolts?
really starting to. It's still all like carries on. These are characters you've kind of met before and carries on the story, but the energy about it was very sort of intimate. It was a very like I said, phase 1 feeling film where they're sort of, they're expanding on the characters that you've met before. You're getting to dive in a little deeper, get to understand them a little better, a bit more of their histories, So, it was really good. And I think while the core message, I'm not trying not to spoil anything here, while the core message that the film is trying to send is laid on quite thick, like unless you're absolute dope, you'll probably get it very, very quickly. And they really hammer it home. But again, it is somewhat targeted at a slight, sort of a
younger audience, man.
Slightly younger audience, I guess, some of the superhero stuff. But no, I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was a good film. The action was quite competent. The effects work was quite good as well. I was quite happy with that. It wasn't, some of the movies where they get a bit grandiose with it, it starts to get a little too fake looking, but they've dialed it in quite nicely with this one. Setting the stage for lots of cool stuff to come. The post-credit scenes were actually quite cool. I screamed at one of them when it happened in the cinema. I was involuntary. I was just like, yes, it was literally, and I did that, and then I immediately cut myself off because I was like, shit, I'm around other people. But no, it was a lot of fun. It was really, really good.
I'll check it out.
Look, I recommend it. Cool. Although I have been meaning to go and see Sinners. I hear that's really, really good as well.
Okay.
Anyway, but yeah. So look, getting to today's guest,
dude.
Yeah, this is someone that we've been talking to for a little while, trying to tee something up, and it finally happened. We're finally making it happen. We actually filmed a reaction not long ago to one of his tracks, and so we are going to be talking to a musician, rapper. Not rapper is it.
We're going to find out a whole lot more.
Whole bunch of stuff about this guy, but he's been dropping some really, really cool songs. Very, socially conscious music. Lots of kind of activism in the messages that he's talking about there. We are going to be talking to the one and only Mudrat. If you like Rage Against the Machine, you are probably going to dig what this guy's bringing to the table.
Yeah.
And that's, if that's not an understatement at all.
No.
Like very intense social commentary in a lot of his music, very powerful performances, does not mince his words when he's talking about this stuff. So really, really excited to get him on and have a chat. So we're going to dive into this one right now. His new song, meant to mention this.
Got
I
to
should have
mention the
mentioned
new
this.
track.
New track, You Don't Care About Poor People, is out everywhere now. Love it. Great track, really catchy. That chorus is going to be stuck in your head for weeks. That breakdown at the end is going to go off in pits. I believe he's actually playing at Thrashville soon. So we might try and throw a ticket link down for that as well.
And I'll be at that one.
Kyle's going to be at Thrashfest. We're getting around.
We are.
Fucking get around is what we do.
are pouring ourselves out.
But no, it's hey, and if you've got a gig coming up that you'd like us to cover, reach out, send us an email. If you have, if you're a band and you want us to react to your stuff, send us an email, twodudestalkmusic@gmail.com. Just reach out to us. We love chatting, hearing from people and organizing stuff and getting out there and doing all the cool stuff at the events. But that's enough of the intro. Let's get to Mudrat right now. Big welcome to Mudrat for joining us on the channel today. How you doing, mate? How's everything going down there? You down in Melbourne at the moment, or where are you at?
Yeah, we're in Melbourne. We're chilling. Just got our studio space set up, so it's been exciting times watching the rest of the boys kind of nerd out over gear while I just do the lead singer thing and just rock up last and be like, yeah, looks good, sounds good.
Amazing. I love that feeling. Now, you have just dropped a new song called You Don't Care About Poor People. That's out on all the platforms right now. We've been rocking that one as well as Year of the Rat. Now that we've done the reaction to it, we can bump it in regular rotation. Loving it. Absolutely loving it. We're Kyle and I are diehard new metal fucking kids, grew up through that whole era. I'm probably gonna be buried in my jorts kind of thing. It's it just hits the spot, it hits right in the fucking heart of what we're about.
Yeah.
And obviously a lot of the social activism through the music as well, which is, for a lot of artists these days are a bit tentative about for one reason or another. How have you found the reception to the new song? How have people been receiving that, and what's any feedback you've got on that so far?
It's been pretty sort of overwhelming in a positive light. I was expecting there to be some more, I guess, pushback or negative hysteria or ASIO knocking on my door or something like that. But so far it's been pretty good. We put up a clip on TikTok and it went pretty crazy. And on the comments, it's just everyone being fair enough. That's probably what we need to do in regards to the last section. So I think we sort of created a little bit of class consciousness in a little bubble, which is basically all we're about, really. So it's been pretty special because we've been sitting on that one for a little while. I think they say something like, if you're scared to put something out, you're probably sitting on something pretty good. And it's just been one of those ones where I'm like, I just don't know how this is going to be received, particularly with the kneecap stuff that's just kind of gone on. And there's just, it's an interesting time for a lot of different things. But so far so good, and we're just keen to keep pushing it and get a music video done and on to the next.
Yeah, mad.
Hell yeah. I gotta say, is it? I need to ask you about this as well, because the melody in the chorus on "You Don't Care About Poor People," super catchy, real earwormy stuff. Was that catchy of a melody combined with the lyrics of the chorus, "You don't care about poor people, I don't care about poor people, we don't care about poor people"? Is that intended to be sort of a juxtaposition between a lyric and trying to get people to have this stuck in their head so that they actually kind of remember the message, I guess, about society generally doesn't seem to care about poor people, making that part really earwormy to stick in people's minds? Was that an intentional thing or just kind of how it panned out?
Yeah, straight up. That's I think part of the I understand that saying something in your music is obviously a key, a very important thing to what we're trying to do, and everything's got a little bit of intention in terms of even the most sort of salacious kind of terms are put there for a reason. But doesn't really matter if it's not good. If it doesn't pull people in, and like juxtaposing catchiness versus, I guess stoking thought is everything that we try and do. So, normally you get artists that really, want to do something like with their tunes, and all the thought is put into that, but then it might be lacking a little bit in terms of like the visual presentation or the whatever it might be. And basically I've just been like, it all has to be as top notch, and it's all as important as the how it sounds. And I think part of the reason the Year of the Rat like reaction, it was like fucking so cool to see you guys do it, is is it Kyle? Is it? Sorry.
Yeah, me.
Kyle. Like, yeah, I know that that was like your first time like hearing it, and I still kind of we've got like a little bit of a buzz or whatever going, but a lot of it is because of like what we say. Like at least I feel that. So to see people kind of just like their entry point being that song and just liven it for the music alone, I was like, oh, it's just the most sort of validating thing, because how we present something, like how the melodies, all that sort of shit, like it is all intentional. And so to hear that being validated it's really nice, because obviously the message is critical, but I do care about the quality of the music as well. So
that's a big thing. I mean, when I listen to music, it's always melody first, lyrics after. Like, it's just,
same.
It's just the way I digest. Like, I can't help it. It's the way my brain works. But what you guys doing is just so phenomenal. Like, in a world now where I guess Rage Against the Machine have run their course, and where Friends of Rom sort of like have done their thing and stuff like that. We're looking for something new and fresh now. And what you've done is, you like, even with You Don't Care About Poor People, you sort of really captured this British sort of vibe to it at the beginning, and then it really sort of sends home at the end. It's just, musically, you guys are absolutely fantastic. And then to top it off, the lyrics for me is just the icing on the cake.
No, and I like coming from hip hop, where as I'm writing, I'm just caring about like trying to be as impressive as possible. So much so that like sometimes you just forget what you're writing about, because you're just trying to like outcompete against the next rapper or whatever it is. I think so much like the transition to, because this has only been a project for like under 2 years in terms of Mudrat, but I've been doing music since 2017 basically. I feel like it's sort of like you kind of like skill up in this like one particular thing, and then this is almost just like letting loose, because I consume music the exact same way. I don't listen to the lyrics, but I put so much thought in my lyrics, but now it's kind of a thing of like I write music to take it in the way that I hear it, whereas before it wasn't that. And so there was always just like, I don't know, restrictiveness about the process, which it just feels like quite like free now. So it's very cool to hear that being received.
Oh man, you guys are absolutely. I can't wait to see it at Thrashville. I can't wait to see it live.
Sorting the flights out and everything now. So
yeah. I've been asked to come up there and film for my homies from T-Rex Autopsy. So I'm just going to be up there, and we're going to be doing some cool shit. Yeah, I can't wait to get some of the footage, and I'm really looking forward to seeing it live and the energy you put into it. Just so you're a rapper first, and then you sort of joined the band, or like how has this process worked there? How has Mudrat come about?
Yeah, I've said this a few times. It was like a complete accident in a lot of ways, and sort of like, so yeah, I did hip hop strictly from like 2017 to 2022, and that was you don't realize till you after the fact, and then you kind of like, oh, that was just me kind of figuring out all the sort of like what's important, how do I get better at certain things, etc., etc. But I hit this point where I guess when you're driven by like, I think the people that I've always gotten along with most in music, is just this sort of quest to be like, how do I just do more? How do I get a little bit better each song, each project, etc. And I hit this point where I put out a project in 2021. We sold like the most amount of tickets that we had at that point in time. It was like cool, things are going well. I was like conceptually very happy with how we did it, but I was like, all right, like there was a lot of depth in the music, but not necessarily that like what we're talking about now, about that notion of like, how do you get someone straight away? Like people will like this because they might know me and know my story and whatever it is, but how can I make it so that the songs just stand alone as songs? And that kind of led me into this, like, you know, I think about music as like, I don't know if you guys are like fight fans or anything like that, but like there's this whole process of a fighter is either in like a training camp, or they're getting better outside of fighting. And so I feel like a project is like training camp. Like I'm taking my skills now and I'm just making the best thing that I can do right now, but then there's the improvement side after. And I tried really hard to just learn how to sing and learn music like properly in terms of just, you know, like theory and all that bullshit. But I like pushed it way too far, and I just like lost it. And we had our lockdowns here and stuff, so I was like completely stranded, and I had no idea like who I was, like what I wanted to do with music, like what I could write about, like what genre, what all that sort of shit. Sort of just like it completely left me, and I couldn't write a song for like a year despite trying every single day. And it was like, oh, this part of me is done. But I have to do this because if I don't do this, I don't know what I'm living for. I've been surrounded by people from the punk and metal scene, like just always. Emil, who's now the drummer in the band, he's been like my main collaborator, and he was like one of the founding members of Ocean Grove. And
what?
Carlo, yeah, he was the drummer on their first project, and one of the first guitarists in the band was an Earthcaller. Like it was just this thing of like, it was always around, and it was always my second love was sort of, you know, I'm also a, you know, 90s 2000s kid, so new metal and all that sort of shit was in my wheelhouse. And I think it was like, I've got nothing to offer. Let's just see what happens here. And the first idea that we threw, it was the first time that I used my accent as well, and just rapped how I spoke, because I used to put the American twang on it. And I don't know, it just clicked. The first time that I heard a song back, I was like, oh, that's cool. And then the way that it then became a thing was a whole bunch of world events, which we can speak about later, I guess. But like, it's all just been this like whirlwind of like, I had no idea how we got here, and then suddenly we did, but it all feels like it had to all happen for a reason. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that was confusing or not. But
it wasn't. Because one thing I really love, especially with you guys, is that I don't want to sound like a dick or nothing, but Hilltop Hoods came out, and then there was this certain Australian rapping sound that came out, and it was all very samey. Like Hilltop's Hood sort of really made it prevalent, and then skip hop became a thing, and it just sort of sounded all the same because their accents are very fucking similar. Like you go all up and down the East Coast, we sound the same. Yeah, but you sound different.
Yeah,
and that's what I love so much about it. It's just, as much as I do love Hilltop Hoods, there were a couple of rappers after that came out from Australia, and they just were it just sounded like they were trying to copy it. They weren't, but it's just the accent. But you just nail it so well. And yeah, the music that goes along with it.
It's the vibe, you know, that's what it is for me. It's like you know, as a fan of rock and metal and punk and all and hardcore and everything, like, you know that when it comes to that sort of stuff, like the vibe is what gets people to kind of come in. That's what gets people to come in from the smoking area. You know, like that's what gets people to go, oh shit, that sounds like it's really popping off in there. I need to get in there and see that. And I feel like, especially with the last two releases, Year of the Rat and You Don't Care About Poor People, it's really dialing in that vibe. and
Yep.
it's the kind of thing that will make people like pay attention. I feel like, I mean, I have not been fortunate enough to see a live show yet. If you'll ever get up to Brisbane, I will have to try and make sure I get out there.
Oh yeah, we're coming in September. We've got a tour plan.
Sick. All right. I'll keep an eye out for
Lucky
that, and I will
Raff.
do my best to get out there.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you're almost from what I've seen in the film clips and the little snippets of live stuff that you've thrown into those, I get the sense that your live performance is, I don't know if antagonistic is the right word, but you're like riling, you're like trying to get people riled up, get in their faces, like fucking, get angry, get moving, do this fucking, let that energy out. And it seems to work, from what I can gather.
Yeah.
Like even just the tracks here that we've listened to here, it's like I can feel it already there, which is, and that's something that is so difficult for, I think, a lot of bands at this level of things, right? Is they can have a great and really energetic live performance, but capturing that in a recording is really, really difficult. They either just kind of don't get it right from the start, or they overproduce it and suck the life out of it. And however you guys are approaching it, you seems like you've managed to really dial that in of capturing that live energy with the with the performance, with the performances that are on the recordings there. Is that what's your approach to production when you guys are recording stuff?
Well, that's the thing, is we're still transitioning from what was all a production from like a hip hop. Like, the first few songs of like, they were just beats that we crafted within the box. And this idea of the live versus the recording is something that we've just figured out as we've been playing shows together across the last year. And we're in like a halfway between phase. It just started off, and it's still currently like Mudrat is me. But it's been this thing of like, it's about to become a band after this project. Like, it will be Mudrat and the Mischief, which is the band. And we're now like, so You Don't Care About Poor People was that's the first song that is one that we've like completely re-recorded and written, and I think like gotten close to releasing as like a band production, in which like we tracked the drums and tracked everything sort of a bit more traditionally, whereas a lot of it has just been like, how you would sit around and craft a beat in a hip hop sense of things, but we were playing guitars and whatever on it. But it's just, and like I said this just the other day, like we only have started writing as a band like 2-3 months ago. Like, it's like having a jam and being like, oh shit, you can just do it all at the same time.
Yeah.
That's how jamming works. That is literally the meaning of a jam. You just hash it out as you go. Throw shit at the wall and see what sticks.
And I'll tell you what, that is some of the most fun parts of the process. When shit's clicking and you're like, everything's firing, and someone's like, I really like that bit, and someone else is like, wait, I got something that goes really well with that. And then you're able to kind of sit there and the stuff's just flowing out, or you're like, wait, I have a verse that fits to that exactly. Yeah. That excitement is like the only thing about live music or about being in a band that is better than that side of it. For me, at least, is the live performance, being up there, getting that with the crowd.
I'll agree with you.
That's number one. That's the number one part of it. The close number two is when you're in a jam and everyone's firing on all cylinders and the shit is just working, and it's the kind of like flow state, but like a group flow state that is like, it's if you haven't experienced it, it's really hard to understand. Like how, whether it's with music or with something, some other context, it's like, if you haven't experienced it for yourself, it can't be really described adequately for it. It's just some of the most intense, like joyful feeling that you get, because it really is like your minds are sort of melding, and like your souls are coming together to create this new thing. You are creating something new in the world, which is like
musical intercourse.
like how does it?
Literally, we had a like first sort of writing trip, and everything you're speaking about, like it happened for the first time, and it was fucking magic. And we came back, and all of our girlfriends were like, "Did you guys all just fuck or something?" Like, what the fuck? Like we came back different. We were just so like connected as mates and as artists. And since then, it's just like the synergy it's gone to a whole other levels. And I'm in that classic position now where we're trying to finish up a project, and I'm like, oh, but it's the next one. Like, you don't understand. Like,
no, that is such a good attitude to have, but because people go through this thing, especially new bands, they go through this thing of it's not done, it's not done, it's not done, it's not done. It's fucking done. You can't overproduce it anymore. Get on with that. Release that. Get on with the next shit.
Perfect is the enemy of finished.
Yeah, 100%.
And you know, I've learned that lesson had to learn it and relearn it so many times over with different things in different roles. As a member of a band that's writing material, as a member of a band that's recording material, as a producer, as like someone that's doing the engineering and the mixing and everything on stuff as well. I've had to learn. It's like I don't know why I have to keep teaching myself this lesson, old man. Like I just do that to myself time and time again. But it's
all that lead fumes that we used to suck in when we were younger. Standing in the back of mum's car.
Yeah, mild. We've unfortunately got the tail end of the lead poisoning. But yeah, so like that's it. Like perfect is the enemy of done, and knowing when to go. You know what? This is not like saying this is as good as it's going to get, not in a resignation sort of way of like, oh, this is as good as it's going to get, but like, this is as good as we're able to make it.
For now.
If we could make 1,000 changes and it'll still sound this good, just slightly different. Let's let it go into the way. If you love something, let it go. Like you have to, there's a time that comes where you have to just share it with the world. And, you know, whatever process you guys have been following so far has really been working. Like, I'm keen to see what kind of stuff. How much stuff have you guys got banked up, ready to start kind of dropping? Is that something you can talk about?
We are doing everything wrong at the moment. It's fucked. Like. So we have our we're rolling out singles to drop the project in late August, I think. But we're also, because they've existed in like this restrictive sort of like beat form, and now we're transforming them. We're literally like writing, recording, mixing, putting it out. Like it's like recording, mixing, and it's like our manager's having a fucking nightmare just managing this, and he's like, I need everything to be planned and organized. I'm like, mate, we haven't got it. We're finishing the next one, putting it out. I'm putting it out. But it is we will be on track, and the studio space is definitely like we've got now 24/7 access sort of thing. So
nice.
It's definitely speeding up the process, but we have then now started ideas for the next one, and we're starting to like see two sort of, you know, like on the whiteboard. It's starting to take shape, but it's less so about we do everything in house as well. So like Noah, who's our bassist, is our like photographer, videographer. He mixes everything as well. So I'm
of course it's the bass player, because bass players need to bring that many more skills to the table to be useful. I say that as a bass player myself. I say that as a bass player myself. All love, Noah. All love. I'm sure you. I'm a long-suffering bass player myself. Trust me.
Bass players are just important as drummers.
Yeah. No, he. I'm very lucky. He just does it all, and so we are able to turn things out pretty quickly once the idea's sort of set. But yeah, project this year, it's like a 8-song. I just calling it a project because I want to save that word album for the one where I'm like, this is the one now. But with some interludes and stuff, it's probably going to fucking just be an album. I'm just going to accept that. But yeah, it's fun because it still feels like it's like there are these restrictions which are good in terms of finishing, like you guys are saying. But to know, like, we've just had a little taste of like, holy shit, like, because on top of this, like, they're all like the other members are fucking all excellent, and they aren't really able to currently showcase that in even though it's great. It's a lot of these songs have been, so Emil's like basically written everything, and so they are coming in and adding little bits and pieces, but it is that sort of like the idea is basically there, whereas the stuff that we're starting to just sort of cook up together, and it's crazy how just we haven't had a bad like jam in ages.
Yeah.
That's good.
And so yeah, I am very excited to just see what happens, because they're all just like, they all just have these like lofty musical kind of goals, and like I don't necessarily have this drive to be like the most impressive musician. Like for me, it's just like, can I now elevate I guess like always been a conceptually driven person. Like I have to like write a project at a time, and it has to have a narrative, even if I don't necessarily like showcase that. And for me, it's just about like, what's the next story I can tell? Whereas these guys are like, you know, they want to be respected as well as by their peers, as well as you know, make great art that's digestible but also like thought provoking. And so I'm just very, very keen to see what happens once we can kind of get this one out of the way, and have a bit of time to play around.
Well, I can't wait to see it either, because you've used 3 months. 3 months you've been working with these people, did you say?
So it's been this thing where like, because I get, so the story of it is, I start to, in 2023, I write the first song that I like in like 2 years. Is actually the single that we dropped between, it was last night. So it was Year of the Rat last night, then this one. And I'm like, oh, there's something to this. And so I keep kind of like following this sort of trajectory of like, what if we just start not using 808s and start using guitars and basses? And I'm still very much approaching things like a rapper. Like I'm still like learning what the difference is, because my brain is geared to like fill all the space. That's just what a rapper does, is like, I know.
Stay
like,
with that, because at the end of the day, like one of the best pieces of advice, like when I was in a band, one of the best pieces of advice was given me by a guy named Pat Brown, and he was from, and he was just like, you're trying to fill up you're trying to match the band's energy and trying to fill up your voice, and I'm not that good. However, you, on the other hand, you're trying to send a message. You need to fill that space like an instrument. And because you're not, like in a sense, because you're not doing the whole screamo thing, and you're not, you know, throwing a lot of pitch and all that, like when you're not there, it is dead space.
Yeah.
In a weird sense. And it's really good, because we spoke to Bionic Jive last week, and it's really refreshing when you're a rapper first and you sort of go into the band situation. Yeah. Because you're not there. You're there as a front man, obviously, but you're there as an instrument in a main part as well. But it's because you're not doing the whole screaming thing. It sits differently in the line, if you if you know what I'm saying.
No, 100%. Yeah. And I don't think I could ever lose that, because I think that's just what I am.
Exactly. And this is the one thing that I think, more than anything else, this is the thing that I think comes across through what you guys have released so far, is it's genuine. Like that's the thing, like that's what people connect with so much more than anything else. And I'm sure you've experienced this through you know, everything you've done already. It's like when shit's genuine, that's when it resonates with people. And you know, I think that we've, you know, like, I mean, yeah, like Kyle said, like we spoke to a band called Bionic Jive last night. They were big. The other way, we dropped the interview last week, but they this week at time of recording. But they were, that was like 2 rappers that started working with a metal band, and we're just like, hey, this is really cool. Like, let's keep going with it. And you know, like they didn't have a lot of experience with metal prior to that. and they were like, yeah, just discovering this new space, and they're like, holy shit, like performing it with a whole band together is like a whole different experience. And it really is. It's like you're, performing on stage with a track playing behind you is one thing. But when you've got the whole group there, it brings like just a rawness and an energy to it. And when you add to that you're speaking from the heart with your lyrics and the messages that you're trying to put out there, because they are issues that you passionately care about, and all of that just comes together to create something that is, that will resonate with people.
Yeah.
And I think looking from the views and the reactions that I've seen from people, the comments on stuff, like, I mean, the Year of the Rat music video has only been out 2 months. It's got 11,000 views. Like,
That's fucking insane.
Yeah.
Like, that's connecting with people.
Oh, it still blows my mind. I'm still like, what the fuck is happening? Like, it's just yeah.
How have you found the crowd so far doing the live shows and that? Being in the hip hop world, and then this is something we asked Bionic Jive last week. The worlds are very different. Like, I've been to a Cypress Hill show, and aside the copious amounts of weed smoke that was in the room in the Cypress, it's not a big moving thing.
Yeah.
So how have you found, like, trying to grab that audience in the palm of your hand and get them moving and get them hyped, and fucking you're screaming at the whole time, just come on, get the fuck up.
Yeah. So I think and I'm keen for you guys to see it when we do tour, but we have like some of the most diverse audiences I think I've ever seen, and I think part of it is because there's something for everybody in terms of like, we get a lot of the, I'm not normally into this, but for some reason, I think it's because I believe what you're saying. Like, I'm into that, and we also then like it, and it's only now as like the Kickstarter of it was the message, just based off the time, and there's a lot of, I guess, like activism stuff that's happening down in Melbourne, and so there's a hub of like 1,000 people that are kind of like just going to like rallies and pickets, and they're fucking blaring our shit like at a fucking picket line, like while cops are like on the other side, and it's and I'm very much so also like involved in a lot of that stuff, and that's sort of the hub of it, is like people that like are genuinely completely aligned with the message, and also like we sort of say that like this is like our role in all of this sort of like civil unrest is to be like a cathartic space for them to get the things that they're living out, like to have a space to just let it out, but then also be an entry point with the music, people that just like the music, to then come in for some of the messages and sort of learn something, and then connect with people that are already like doing the work, et cetera, and sort of, so you get kind of both. You get we starting to get some like younger kids coming through, just being like, oh, this fucking just goes, that's cool. And then we've got grandmas at the show, like just like chilling out the back, like
that.
just because of.
Mate, they were probably activists back in the 70s going, power to the
they
fucking
still are.
people.
Like that's the thing, is like just lifelongers. And so it's just I think that's the most beautiful part about all of this, is like I don't know, I switched my mentality, I think, from music being this thing which was completely like me, and sort of the idea being like, wait a second, like, all everyone's trying to do is get fans. And why am I thinking about myself all of the time? And what if I just slightly switched the mentality? I was like, how do I create something that's authentic? I'm not faking it, because I genuinely, it wouldn't work. So I can't say for everyone to do this, but it was about how can I like serve a community? How can I play a role in all of this with music? Like, what's the thing that I can do? And as I started to do that, because I used to create from this place of like deep introspection, and like it was about just being in therapy for fucking 12 years and figuring out all of these things to myself. And it's not that I've lost that's still there, but it just went like, what if I then turn that outwards and been like, what the fuck's going on? How can I capture feelings in certain phrases that like are just sort of like people hear that and they know what that fucking means because they've seen that like 1,000 times across the last like couple of years. And how do I play a role that functions within a greater community? And music's just a small part of that. And that's basically the core. And then now we're sort of starting to see a little bit of, I guess, the casual sort of like, oh, that kind of sounds sick. Let me just check that out. And the point is, this came back to this, like what we were talking about at the start of like the melody versus the message is that's why you have both is because they feed each other. So if someone thinks it sounds sick, they might learn something. And if someone likes what I'm saying, it gives them like a means of like, you know, just feeling something that they've, you know, they're holding on to and might need a space to be with a couple of hundred other people that feel the same way. And that's basically been the way that we've tried to approach things is, yeah, just sort of just switch a few small little things. And so far it's been working.
It's great, man. It really is. Like I'll give you a little bit of an insight into how I came across what you guys are doing as well.
Yeah,
so,
sick.
Like,
I always love to hear this.
I am chronically online, unfortunately.
Yep.
I'm one of these people.
Yep.
And you know, I like TikTok for music discovery. I've got a list of like over 200 bands that I'm trying to reach out to eventually for interviews for the channel and stuff. All smaller bands, local bands that I've come across through TikTok. And it's a hive of, it's a great place for that, right? Great place to find new music. And I'm scrolling through one day and, you know, video comes up, black and white video. And I'm like, the music kind of grabbed me. And then very quickly, like the lyrics kick in, and it's the lines, the prime minister that I voted for is a fucking pussy.
Yeah.
The prime minister that I voted for now supports a war against Geneva Accords. And I'm immediately like, one, that's a hell of a rhyme, like a hell of a set to put together. And two, that is an extremely poignant message. It just grabbed me straight away. And I'm like, I'm like, who the fuck is this? And like, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm digging this. And I went and sort of had a look at some of the other videos. I'm like, I'm paying attention to this. Like, I need to be on top of what's going on here. And just like was kind of following and having a bunch of the videos come up. And obviously like, you know, it reached out a little bit and we kind of didn't end up teeing anything up. But then now we've got it happening now, which is awesome. But I just think like that's one of those things where like you say, if you're just combining the message and the melody, it's a great, you know, a little bit of alliteration there, but also like that's what it has to be about. A great piece of advice that I was given about songwriting and music is all you need for a great song is 3 chords and the truth. And I think, and it sounds in some ways it sounds like a bit of a pretentious statement, but it's so true. You know, like if you want to be cynical about it, you can go, oh, it's fucking, you know, what a weak thing. But no, it's so true, because you look at so much of just great music it just happens. Like how many of these great songs throughout history do we hear about where it's like, oh yeah, that was just something we threw together to fill the extra space on the vinyl, or like we needed an extra song and the label wasn't happy with the singles that we're presenting them, so they said give us something else and we wrote it in an hour. Like what these songs that just come, and they can only flow like that when they're coming from a place of truth, I think, at the end of the day. And
we speak about this in the band all the time. Like I think that's, you know, that's important for everything that you do with music. I mean, just in life in general, but like our set is something that we just keep tinkering with. It's never really the same twice. And part of that is like, I'm like, guys, you're good enough now. I think what you need, what the key thing to get is like, as possible, I don't want any show to ever feel like a rehearsal, like where you're just going through the motions. Wherever we're at that day, wherever the world's at, wherever the crowd's at, in some sort of way, we need to authentically just like serve whatever that needs to be. And so much of it has just been about like that notion of like authenticity, and I guess that is the truth, right? it's something that we're trying to just channel into everything. Yeah, it's just, I don't know, you guys have just
No,
very,
you've no,
very good at this.
you've really made me think now, because rappers can really throw a spanner in the work, can't they? Because you're so not 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 being a dick or nothing, but when I guess you're working with a DJ and stuff like that, your set can change whenever you want, depending on how you feel. It's just
Yep,
change your track and go with what you go. But when
yep,
you're working with your musicians,
yep,
and if you're in a different city and you want to do something different, everyone's got to work on the fly. It's like, okay, let's change this song, let's change that,
yep.
let's do this, that. Ooh, you'll be putting those band members through the paces, and that is such a good thing.
Well, when I say this, we're not like swapping the set around or anything.
Okay,
Like,
okay, okay.
it's more just about like a lot of it is so we like, I won't give too much away, but there's like
Okay.
transitions and stuff between songs, and I'm always like, I'm not rehearsing what I'm saying. It's just about trying to be in that moment. But then with that, I'm like, but then guys, I trust you. If you feel like you need to go on for a couple bars longer here before we start, how can we be how can we be so locked in that we know, oh, Noah's doing something different, let's just see where this goes. And it's that same notion of that jam energy. It's like, how can we bring that to the live show, and then therefore like back into the recordings, and all of it's just about authenticity. Because I think obviously you can just get like a set like super, super tight, but I think at some point, if someone's come and seen you once and then they come and seen you again and it's completely the exact same thing, where like the music's important, but the music's just a part of like creating the atmosphere of like how we see our shows. And the show, it's about the connection with each other and in the show, as opposed to, and the songs just help facilitate that. So there's always just like little things that we're trying to, I guess, like principles that we just try and approach things by, and then the music then comes secondary sort of to those things, because they're all fucking amazing. So yeah,
It's so refreshing to actually hear someone say that, because you have the opportunity to do that with working with such good musicians.
yep.
I mean, and this is, but exactly what you're talking about is something else that we've mentioned on the show, the channel, a few times. It's like live performance is and not just of music, but in like comedy and theater and whatever, like all sorts of things. But live performance is one of the truest like remaining art forms, because every performance is going to be different. The sound in the room's different. Your performances, no matter how dialed in you are, the performances are likely going to have little nuances between them, and especially for where there's a like a social, like an activism element to what you're doing, like that is something that responds in real time to what's happening in the world around you. If there's been a particularly joyous event, then that gig can feel much more like a celebration. If there's been a particularly tragic event, it can feel like an expression of sadness or anger at the state of what's going on, and that can all tie into it, and that becomes such a unique experience that is never repeated, because it's only you guys and those people in that room right there that are living that moment. And the next gig, even at the next gig at the same venue, is still going to be vastly different. And it's one of the things that for me is that's what I love most about music and live music. And I don't want to see a performance that is like, obviously I want the performance to be a good performance, but I don't want it to be so dialed in that it's no different than listening to the album.
That's why you walked out of Death Clock, isn't it?
Well, it's one of the reasons that I walked out halfway through the Death Clock concert, because I was like, I'm not getting anything here that I can't get listening to it and watch at home and watching the videos at home. I'm curious though, being from Melbourne, are you familiar with a band called Mammal?
Yes. Again, I get schooled up on all this by the other members, but I think Harvey, the guitarist, is a huge Mammal fan.
Yeah, because I was going to say, like, you guys, they're also very like socially conscious in their message. Zeke is he's a solicitor that does a lot of work for, and a lot of
Work for the indigenous
work for
community.
indigenous community and like social movements and things
I would
like
love
that.
to see the two of you on tour.
Like I feel like, for it would be a really nice pairing. It would be a really nice
Yeah.
pairing. I think their crowd would really dig you guys. I think your crowd would really dig them. Like it's a great,
I
and
think my pants just moved a little bit.
and let me tell you, like if you want an entertaining performance, watching Ox perform on stage is
dude.
incredible. Like the dude is, like the best example I can give is like, how when you watch someone like Peter Garrett perform, it feels like he's channeling something more like from outside of himself. Ox is the same.
Not Peter Garrett.
Ox is
Iggy
the same.
Pop.
Iggy Pop, any of these guys, when you see them perform and they're like, it feels like their body's being fueled by something, beyond them.
Yeah.
And it's just because of how wild and crazy it is. That's the kind of performance that Ox brings to the stage with Mammal. And it's like, it is a sight to behold, and he is an incredible front man. So like,
I've got to catch a gig. That sounds sick.
Yeah, they are insane.
I think
fucking insane.
you guys doing some stuff together would be absolutely incredible.
Don't, Raff. You're gonna tease me. Oh.
Hey, we still have. We need to lock in a support for our Melbourne leg of our tour, so that could be the move.
Dude, you're never gonna see me fly down. You're never gonna see me fly down to Melbourne so quick if that's gonna happen.
But yeah, I was just gonna say, they're sort of the kind of band that I think would pair really, really well with you guys, for that. So I mean, I don't know what they're doing at the moment. Like they dropped an album last year. They've done a whole tour off it. Like I don't know where they're at right now in their stuff.
Sure, of course, yeah.
But yeah, I think Ox has actually moved to Sydney now, so I'm not. Yeah, I don't really know where everything's at with them, but
Trader.
They are.
No, Sydney's the best. I'm from Sydney. It's actually funny because we've got the whole East Coast here.
Yeah,
Sydney, Melbourne.
I mean, I've been up here. I've only been up here like just about 5 years. I wouldn't say I'm like proper. I'm still a Sydney sider that's an invader. So you kind of touched on it earlier, something around August. Like, what's sort of the plan for the rest of this year for you guys in terms of like gigs and releases and touring and stuff?
Yeah, so we've just had a pretty busy first quarter. We did St Kilda Fest, and then I won a Triple J competition and opened for Denzel Curry, which was fucking insane.
Bro.
Yeah, that was fucked. It was at the Palace Foreshore, which is it's a pop-up thing that they do next to the Palais in St Kilda. So there's footage on my my Insta, but it's like we're looking out at the fucking beach and palm trees, and then we're on this big festival stage. It was crazy, but that was definitely an early bucket list thing to tick off, and then we did we just played Sydney actually. We did a free show and sold that out at Hollywood Hotel, which was really cool. It was rowdy as shit. We were jumping on tables and everything. They were really, really, really fun and cool there. And so we've got a little bit of a down period now to actually try and get ahead on finishing this project, but it's going to drop in August, I think. And then we've got East Coast tour in early Sep, and then I think we might do we've got a couple of loosies that we might just chuck out by the end of the year, and I think hopefully see how we go with the festival circuit and shit. Hopefully get a few of those bad boys. But then Thrashville, of course, in June, which we're very, very keen for. So that should be good. And then it's album next year. We got to try turn one around. So see how that fucking goes.
I reckon you'll be playing at Good Things next year, bro.
Yeah. Managers got that one.
No, I reckon for reals.
But yeah. Genuinely, it's the kind of thing that can really catch fire, and I think it's there's a quality about it that, I mean, we see so many bands and we talk to so many bands on this thing, and
a lot of them gone.
A lot of bands, they kind of don't really stick around, or they do a bit and then they kind of step back, and it's nice. And I'm not that we're the sole arbiters of this by any stretch of the imagination, but when we encounter a band that has that sort of those intangibles, those things where it's that has a real fucking shot at becoming a thing. you know, like, and that's, you know, and again, not that we're the sole arbiters of this or anything, but I really get a sense from you guys that, you know, like
you definitely know
everything's
how to
clicking
spot
and
it. Like, yeah,
We've been listening to the shit long enough where you know what's good and what's not. And the worst part about it is, and I know one off the top of my head. I'm not going to mention them, but the Monsters, Raff, they were one that I was just like, if they just got to keep going. And it was like literally 6 months later after they'd done the interview with us, shit hit the fan with them up on their end. But it's disappointing because all it needs is probably another year.
yeah,
All it needs is another year. Just keep working that another year,
yeah.
and you're there. And don't fuck around.
No,
But-
that's like we're all we've all been this is weird thing where it's all of our second thing in a lot of ways, and there was a lot of soul searching I think between everybody's like first and second, and like outside of the basis we're all 30. Like this is not playtime. Like we've made all of the mistakes now, and it is I couldn't have asked. I if this had happened in my 20s, I would have fucked it up. But like I'm a grown man now. Like I've got my shit together. We've had our party boy like phase. That's come and gone. And so it is bizarre to have gotten to the point where I was like, oh, it's never going to happen. That's cool. And now it's sort of like we're aware as it's happening, and so it's this weird thing of like, oh, that's odd, but you also kind of get to take it in because you've seen it happen to, you know, your friends and your peers. You've also seen where they fucked it, and so that's been part of the thing. Is like I'm at the point now where I've watched people fuck it up from, and I'm like, now I'm here. I'm like, over this. Like, we're still broke. What are you talking about? Like, what the fuck are we talking about here? Like, like over this, a little bit of clout, like a little bit of, you know, like getting recognized or whatever. Like it doesn't matter. And I think had that mentality not switched from me to the world and community, had I not had this like other North Star that is so far beyond myself, that is always kind of there, then I probably would have been ego drunk by now, because we're in this fucking, you know, small pond over here. And so I think there's this thing of like, if you can't get money, you got to try and find a way to like make all the blood, sweat and tears worth it. So might as well just like either like be a dickhead or like, you know, pretend that we're there. But until I don't have to work my job 4 days.
Dude,
Like, I'm
Raff,
not. We're
Raff
not.
screams this at the top of the hills, and we've said it so many times here. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
we're all playing in the same shitty pub. We're all playing in the same shitty venue to the same amount of people. No one gives, and that's the one thing that Raff screams on about here so much. The purity of the Australian music scene is the fact that we don't have the population out here. We can just play at our own fucking rules and do whatever the fuck we want. And if people grab onto it, they grab onto it.
Yeah, it's why we get it's like you get a lot of shit because of that, because the infrastructure isn't there, and the standard is like for like medium level entries, sort of like probably lower across the board, but every now and then one gets through and it's just something like you've never heard before, because it's like it's been cut. Like you had to love it to get all the way through, and that's where, you know, we produce these like incredible acts across decades, is because if you want it, you're gonna have to suffer here. And I think that, you know, pressure makes diamonds or whatever the fucking
oath it does.
Exactly.
Well, look,
we'll take the podcast home for now. As we said,
such an articulate guy too.
You don't care about poor people is out everywhere now. Go and listen to it. Get your head around that breakdown. I am really keen to see that breakdown live and in person, because I feel like that's going to be some spin kicking, elbow throwing, absolute madness in the pit when that hits. And we will have links to all the Mudrat stuff down in the description. So keep an eye on that. Go and click it. Go and follow on everything. Go and check out all the songs on YouTube and Spotify and all of those places. We will have Quick Question Quarter and Get in the Bin coming this weekend. For now, Thank you very, very much to Mudrat for joining us today. For those of you who have made it this far, you are absolute legends. If you liked the video, give it a like. If you didn't, downvote the shit out of it. Remember, my name is Raff, along with the beer buddy Kyle and Mudrat. Stay cool, look after yourselves and each other, and we will catch you guys next time. Peace out. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. We really hope you had a good time. If you did, please consider hitting that subscribe button and the notification bell down there. It helps the channel grow. We are still a fairly young channel, and we like to try and grow our audience all over the world. We do also, for those of you who are interested, have a Patreon. It's just a couple of bucks a month. At the moment, you get all the videos early and ad-free, but we are working on ways to increase the value of that and make it a bit more enticing. So don't forget to keep an eye out and check back on what's going on over there. Other than that, thank you so much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your day.